I have to finish the story. If you smile.
You know, I guess we all got a dream at some point. Cody Rhodes gets yet another WrestleMania main event, and I have my own show now. The only difference here is that Cody has to wait another year to finish his story, yet this video will post at the end of the week, meaning I finished my story before Cody. With that being said, welcome to the pilot episode of Chairshot Wrestling. This is a new show by me, with only me, focusing purely on wrestling around the world, including WWE, AEW, and even some TNA. Without further ado, let's get ready to rumble. So, the biggest news that we've had in the past 2 weeks, I want to say, is CM Punk out, which creates absolute disaster for WrestleMania because he was the main stepping stone to night one. Seth Rollins was already locked in. He was going to win the Elimination Chamber and challenge Rollins. More than likely was WWE's plan. And now they are scattered. Really, the thing with this is there's so many options for Seth to face, but the storyline is really only there for one or two guys. I mean, you've Sami Zayn, obviously, who is never won a world title, and he's seems as if he should win a title because he's so deserving of it for the hard work he's put in the last couple of years. And it's just a very good story there with him. And obviously Drew McIntyre, you know, Seth already faced him, I want to say 3 times Crown Jewel, Day 1 Monday Night Raw, and the third time I can't remember as of right now. But those matches were amazing, obviously. And Drew, you know, had his title during the quarantine era, which meant that he didn't really have fans to cheer him on, and that was probably the biggest moment of his life. So those are definitely 2 great contenders, but I mean, it's terrible for the WWE world because, you know, Punk, biggest return in WWE history aside from Edge, but I'd give it to Punk. And he just comes back, first match back on TV, gets injured. I mean, it is just a true travesty that we did not get to see enough from him. But yeah, Punk, disaster, and we got to figure out who's going to face Seth at WrestleMania. Moving on from that, though, on this past Monday Night Raw this week, R-Truth finally, sadly, gets jumped by the Judgment Day. And, you know, R-Truth posted something funny on Twitter saying that when you get jumped is when you get added into a group. Still thinks he's in the Judgment Day. I think this is going to be still a very funny story that they continue with. And obviously, Truth is a huge catalyst for Damian Priest to become face and obviously split from the Judgment Day, which I think they're hinting more and more towards. But Truth is obviously, ever since he's come back at SummerSlam, just been gold. Just been one of the best superstars, like, in general, promos, and just, you know, his natural aura is just amazing. And obviously, especially the Royal Rumble, when, you know, he enters the Women's Rumble, and then after that gets JD McDonough eliminated and then thinks it's a tag team match and gets tagged in by Dominic. You know, definitely one of the better moments and one of the guys that really brings light to the WWE. And speaking on the Royal Rumble, Andrade El Idolo obviously comes back to WWE, not as Cien Almas, not as El Idolo, just straight up as Andrade. And he, this past Monday Night Raw, signed with Raw. You know, they're hinting more and more towards that GM war between Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. But, you know, Nick Aldis, who we'll talk about in a minute, got a lot of superstars on SmackDown as well. But Andrade is huge because we are hinting closer and closer to that Andrade-Gunther match that we've been hoping for so long. You know, just 2 very amazing superstars in this wrestling world that we have. And they had yet to face because obviously they're in different companies. But, you know, Andrade's here now. Andrade's at his best right now. And I really think they could put on a if not 5-star match. You know, the aura there will just be such an amazing thing to see, especially in the ring. The work they could produce, I think, would be some of the best we've seen this year, probably. And, you know, obviously Andrade with AEW, moving on to AEW now. Undisputed Era, you know, obviously introduced just to be MJF's next opponent. But, you know, with MJF injured, they've just gotten kind of stale. They've just been there. And, you know, they have not been one of the more entertaining things in AEW like they've been, you know, obviously sold out to be. But, that faction, there's a whole lot of star power in there, nonetheless. But just without Adam Cole and seeing him in a wheelchair, it's just very, very stale seeing what we're getting from them. Because obviously the Kingdom, they're a good tag team in the ring, but let's be honest, nobody really likes them. Roderick Strong, everyone loves Roderick Strong, but he is not world champion material yet, and they have not given him that title match that he deserves. And obviously Wardlow's a beast, but we'd much rather see him get big matches than those, random matches we see him get on like Collision and, even sometimes Dynamite, but not that much. And Undisputed Era just right now for me is not getting it done what they need to be getting done. And there's obviously a very quick change to that for AEW, which is, having all these guys finally get into big matches on like, their flagship show, which is Dynamite. But, Tony Khan obviously, not the sharpest tool in the shed as we've seen. But, I think he can make some smart decisions. Moving on to Tony Khan, he has a major announcement to make on Wednesday, as announced on Dynamite last week. And I think this major announcement is going to be the Forbidden Door opening with CMLL, which I think is huge for AEW, nonetheless. But, we saw WWE and TNA break the Forbidden Door this past week, which is, a huge thing for WWE, because through the Vince McMahon era, we're not going to bring him up in this show besides this, but Vince McMahon era, we didn't really have any crossovers with other companies besides WCW, and frankly, Vince bought WCW. I don't think that WWE is going to buy TNA. Obviously, they're not, but the Forbidden Door opening is huge. I mean, we could see Josh Alexander in WWE. We could see AJ Styles coming back home to TNA. We could even see Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, come back to WWE after being released from them during cuts. And, Nick Nemeth obviously being set up to be a superstar in TNA. That would be kind of like a bittersweet homecoming for him since, in WWE he had, like, for the 19 years he was there, like, a 90% loss rate. He just wasn't used correctly for the superstar he was. And, I think the biggest thing there, though, is AJ Styles going back to TNA, coming back home. I think that would get TNA absolutely going, because AJ Styles, the man who built TNA on his back, more matches than anyone there, definitely the best wrestler in TNA history, no doubt about it. And he would get one of the bigger ovations we've ever seen from TNA. And it would be such a great moment to see him back home, back where he flourished. And, he flourishes in WWE, but TNA is really where his prime hit him. And to see another TNA AJ Styles match even would get the fans going crazy. And I am so here for it. I'm so here for this whole Forbidden Door idea with WWE and TNA. I'm glad WWE is doing it with TNA before AEW could, because I think AEW is enough Forbidden Doors they could do. But this is going to break the wrestling world, this Forbidden Door, and how it's going to open even more and more. We're just going to have to explore our options, and it's going to be a fun time. Speaking on WWE now, Finn and Damian Priest, the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions, I mean, they have to drop the title soon. I get it. I love Finn. I love the Judgment Day, but Finn, that tag team is just getting so stale, and they already have too many storylines going to afford the tag team title storyline, because, frankly, it's just getting boring. They're just winning every match. I personally think they should have lost to DIY on Raw. I get it. They want them to lose it at a PLE, but, I mean, come on. What are you doing? There's so many bigger storylines you could do there. Like, you could do the Priest Money in the Bank thing. I know they don't want to rush that, but, I mean, it has to happen soon. It's getting, like, way too boring for any wrestling fan to continue to watch it. And you have Rhea Ripley continuing to hold her title and hold her division on a stranglehold. But Rhea Ripley is, in my opinion, the best thing going on in Judgment Day right now, obviously, besides R-Truth. But, she's just dominant. She's the best women's champion we have right now. And, frankly, she is the best women's wrestler we have right now, in my opinion. And that is not going to change for a while. And the Judgment Day, just, they're obviously best faction in WWE, probably one of the best in history at this point, but this tag team run is not it. There are so many amazing tag teams they have brought up or brought back together in the past couple of months, like DIY, the Creed brothers, even Legado del Fantasma now, etc. Just waiting for that shot to get the title. I think they should end up doing a 4-way ladder match, TLC match at WrestleMania, but it's just very bad reign that they have as of right now, and I think it could be a lot better if they just have them drop it as soon as possible. And so far, this upcoming thing that I'm about to talk about is the worst thing that's happened in 2024 so far, in my opinion, which is Cody Rhodes, wins the Royal Rumble, goes face-to-face with Roman. We're all saying, oh, he's going to call him out, run it back at WrestleMania. No. He gives up his spot to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and now everyone on the internet in the world is going crazy because, obviously, Cody, I'm sure he did not want to do that, but, everyone thinks The Rock is going to bring in all this money for them. No, Rock is taking advantage of his political power in TKO to get these spots. People were saying he was even politicking to win the match, which is ridiculous enough that he's even in the match. There's an easy fix to this, and I think they can do it, but Triple H has to put his mind to it, which is having Rock Roman at night 1 of WrestleMania, main event, and then having Cody versus Roman night 2. Cody, this is the year he has to win it. He's waited too long. Last year he got screwed out of it, and it's getting so stale, Roman's reign too, because he doesn't fight that often. When he fights, it's obviously a good match, but we need a fighting champion. We need a babyface back as champion because, and Cody's the perfect dude to do it. Cody, at this point, I would say is the face of this company, especially what he does inside and outside of the WWE. He's the perfect representative to take over that spot from when John Cena had it for all this time. And, he deserves to be a world champion. Cody took his story outside of the WWE, revitalized his whole character, made AEW, then went back to WWE as a main eventer, took down Seth Rollins 3 times, and is still losing in title matches, which to me is unacceptable. And he should be in the main event and win the title nonetheless. So this must be fixed for the sake of me and every other wrestling fan. Speaking on the WrestleMania main event, though, the Seth Punk match, obviously out of order. So my thought process on this is obviously Drew versus Seth. That could be the main match they're going towards right now. But I actually have something that would be very interesting. I think obviously they have that, but then they have Gunther relinquish his title before WrestleMania. They have him kind of ride Drew McIntyre's coattail for a while, and then triple threat at WrestleMania, Gunther, Drew, Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship. And honestly, have Drew win the title because he's been waiting all this time. Gunther still has a lot of time to win a world title. It's miraculous that he's held the title almost all his time in the WWE. But I think that this is Drew's moment, and I think he's going to seize his moment, seize his opportunity, and finally take this title from Seth that he's been wanting for so long. But anyways, that's going to do it for us in this pilot episode of Chairshot Wrestling. As always, appreciate you tuning in to this episode, and we hope to see all you wrestling fans back here next week on Chairshot Wrestling.
Whoa!